Recently, I've shared tips for what to do at author events. For some authors, speaking in public, giving readings, that sort of thing is no big deal. But for many more, it is a big deal, and it can be terrifying. I used to be one of those petrified people. So today I want to share, talking about your book, how I found my confidence. In high school, I was so shy, I wouldn't even look at someone I was uncomfortable around. That was not a very pleasant way to go through life. So I decided to change. Now I feel more confident in situations like readings, talking about my book, writing community gatherings, conferences, and other network events. That's because I decided to change. This is Ignited Ink Writing, a channel dedicated to helping authors like you transform your writing so it lingers with your readers, because writing that lingers gets remembered and recommended to others. I'm Caitlin Burvey, editor and writer. Let's start with you have to decide to change. The biggest thing I did to overcome my shyness was to make the decision to change. This was a conscious decision. I didn't want to be afraid of people anymore. I wanted to have more fun and build deeper, more meaningful relationships. I couldn't do that if I was going to continue being shy. So I had to make that decision and internalize it. I was lucky because I had a roommate at the time who was also struggling with shyness in her own way. So together, our New Year's resolution was to be bold. To us, being bold meant saying yes to things. It meant saying yes to invitations, to parties, to events that we'd always wanted to try but been a little too afraid to participate in. And it worked. After the year, we felt more comfortable talking to people. Now, more comfortable is not the same as completely comfortable, but we were getting there. We were no longer feeling held back by that fear associated with our shyness. If you struggle with shyness or another confidence issue, you have to make a decision to change. For some people, that might be a physical change like going to the gym. But for someone like me, it was an internal change. I had to decide I was not going to be afraid anymore. I had to take steps to get over that fear. You can read all the self-help books, tips, and blogs that you want. If you don't make that decision, you're not going to see that change. So the change starts with you and your decision. Next, I want to share how confidence is practice and persistence. It's natural to feel insecure when something changes in your life. Change is difficult for most of us, but that shouldn't stop you from experiencing life. My shyness was holding me back. It was stopping me from having those experiences. That's why I decided I really needed to make that big change. But it didn't happen overnight. It wasn't like I decided I wasn't going to be shy anymore and suddenly I wasn't afraid. It's not how it works. It took practice and conscious effort. So what I did was I decided I was going to talk to one new person a day or every few days. This was easy because I was in college, so I was always sitting in a class with a bunch of people I didn't know, standing in line with people I didn't know. So there were more opportunities for me to have these small conversations to help me push past that shyness. If I were to do the same exercise today, at this point in my life, I might only be able to talk to one new person a week or twice a week because I just don't see that many new people on a regular basis. Or I might not just be confident enough to do it every day yet. So if that's you and you're shy and you're trying to build your confidence, try talking to one new person a week and building your way up. By the time the year was over and I was done practicing these things, I felt more comfortable in situations where I'd never felt comfortable at all. Things like parties, big group events, places where it's easy to get lost and feel overwhelmed. I now felt like I could work the room a little bit, meet some new people. Some of us are comfortable in those social situations, but not so comfortable when it comes to the business side of things, to being a writer and to being proud of being a writer. So when you find yourself needing to practice networking for business, I like to follow Deborah Fine's advice. I took her class, The Fine Art of Small Talk, at Colorado Free University. She also has a book. And I took two really important things away from that class. The first are when you're going to a networking event, give yourself 5 minutes to psych up for it, to prepare yourself to meet new people. Then decide ahead of time how many new people you're going to talk to. She recommends 3. Once you have met those 3 new people, you've interacted with them, then you can go ahead and reconnect with people you might already know at those events. This works for anything from a baby shower to a writer's conference. So if you're shy and you feel uncomfortable around new people, pick a number you're comfortable with and decide that that's how many new people you're going to connect with at that event. After that, if you happen to connect with more, great, but you don't have to. You can just focus on other reasons you might be there. If you want to gain more confidence and be able to more confidently speak about you and your writing, you have to practice. You have to be bold. Next, I want to share why you must believe in your writing. How you feel about your writing is going to seep into the way you talk about it. I don't care how many times you rehearse your pitch in the mirror. When you go and talk about it in public to people you don't know, you're going to present that pitch in the way that you feel. So that means tone and body language are going to betray you if you're not comfortable in it. You have to believe in your writing and believe that it is worth reading. That starts with you. It's kind of a conscious decision. Technically, this also means presenting a polished piece to the world, but emotionally and mentally, it means believing in your work and yourself. My brother and I were raised by parents who taught us to be humble. Humble, in a way, is being shy. We don't really know how to talk about our accomplishments because we were taught to downplay them, to not brag. While it's good to not brag, it does make it difficult as creators to talk about our work. How do I say, yes, I'm a good writer, when I was taught that that might be bragging and not humble enough? How does my brother say, yes, I'm an amazing music composer, when he feels the same way? So if that was you and you were brought up to be humble, it's important to learn the difference between bragging and rubbing your success in someone's face and just being honest. Yes, you are good at what you do. You are a good writer. I believe I am a good writer. And because I believe that, I'm able to talk about my writing in a confident way that convinces other people to give it a try. So when you find yourself talking about your writing, giving a reading, something along those lines, I want you to think about one part of that piece you are particularly proud of. Is there a phrase you love or makes you smile every time you think about it? Are you in love with one of your characters? Is this your favorite little bit of dialogue you've written in a while? Think about that before you start speaking or reading. Let it sink in, and that will help you talk about your writing more confidently. This is a trick I use sometimes when I'm about to give a reading in front of new people or when I'm feeling not as confident that day. I'll think about those things that I really love that I've done. Next, I want to talk about why an editor shares her shy past. I want to share how I used to be shy because most people today are shocked when they find that out. But I really did not talk at all in high school. I didn't really make eye contact with anyone. And it's been a journey to get over that and to feel more confident in myself, both as a person and as an author and an editor. And it kills me when I see people who I know are great writers stumble through a reading or be unable to talk about their writing because they don't believe in themselves and their writing. It makes me physically ache. So I want to share my journey and how I overcame my shyness so that hopefully it might help some of you. I'm not saying this is the best way to do it or the only way. It's just what worked for me. When you become a writer, you do become a professional, a business owner. That means you're gonna have to do some networking, marketing, and even sales. As authors, we don't like doing this. I don't like doing this, but I do it because I have to. Because I believe in my writing and I want it to be read, because I believe in my abilities as an editor and I want to work on more books. If you can't talk about your writing with your fans, you're gonna have a hard time connecting with them and building those super fans who are going to bring in more readers for you. Plus, it's just not any fun to be afraid. So the decision starts with you. You have to decide to be more confident, to be bold. What makes you afraid when it comes to your writing? What affects your confidence? And how might you overcome that? Share it in the comments below. To learn more about building your confidence as a writer and just becoming a better writer, subscribe to Ignited Ink Writing, a channel dedicated to helping authors like you transform your writing so it lingers with your readers. Because writing that lingers gets remembered and recommended to others. I'm Caitlin Burvey, editor and writer. To find out more about me, go to www.ignitedinkwriting.com. There you will also find a timeline of a book. This will help you figure out what the writing process is like from idea generation to publication and marketing, and all the steps in between. And now it's your turn to find your confidence, to make the conscious decision to change and believe in yourself and your writing, to ignite your ink.